Oh man, so my buddy and his girlfriend are into going to like vintage stores now, right? So he bought a CD. He was like all excited. He's like, "Yo, I bought a CD for the first time ever," and he bought a copy of a Savage Garden album. And he's like, "Yo, I'm listening to the Savage Garden song." Yeah. He's like, "I'm listening to the Savage Garden song. I love it. It's like their number one most popular song." What song do you guys think that he's talking about?
Ooh.
Well,
there's the two. The one that was really big was the one that Rosie O'Donnell played all the time on her TV show, which was really weird. And then there's the other song. That's a slow song. That was played at every wedding. Truly Madly Deeply was the slow one.
That's their number one hit.
I thought Cherry Cola was the one that was like that was the big hit too. Cherry Cola was like the big hit.
The number one hit is Truly Madly Deeply, and then the second one is I Knew I Loved You. He was talking about a song called To the Moon and Back, and everyone was like, "What the hell are you talking about? No one's ever heard of this song." But anyway,
was that from the first album?
I think so. It's on the same album as Truly Madly Deeply, but I'm like, he's like, "What are you talking about? This not." I was like, "You're insane."
Does this Australian rock band not have access to upload their shit to iTunes? Like he went to a vintage store to buy the CD?
Oh, he's kind of old school. He doesn't do the streaming services and stuff.
So then why didn't he get a record player?
Oh yeah, that record player would be kind of that would be pretty hype.
Who owns a Savage Garden record? I ordered the Savage Garden record
on loop.
Right.
To be fair, John, it would have been much more street cred if he's like, "Guys, I found this album you couldn't believe. It's this band that no one's ever heard of. It's called Silverchair Frog Stomp." Then I'd be like, "That is the song."
His real son. Yeah.
Rob, as soon as I said Frog Stomp, Rob's like, "That's my jam. Yeah. That's the Aussies, Australians I know."
Tomorrow.
That's the album I know. Those are the only Australian rock band. And then
AC/DC.
What about NXS? NXS not as true.
What are you talking about, Rob?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Okay.
I only know three bands.
Okay. From Australia?
Yeah. Kylie Minogue. And clearly Savage Garden. So that's pretty much, those are the all music people.
Wow.
That I
know. Wolfmother, AC/DC.
Never heard of them.
Okay.
Isn't that a battery thing? Is that like when you charge for electricity? Is it AC? Is it HDMI now?
With your power stream in your house. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think that's what it is now. So I again, it's obscure band, right? Like it's small.
I think so. Very, very, very tiny.
It's like indie.
You know what it is? They're kind of like one of these niche bands. They think, "Oh, I'm going to have a gimmick. I'm going to have a guy dressed in a schoolboy uniform and dancing around."
Oh, made popular. Oh, you know what? I think I know them because they're made popularized by Iron Man, right? Like the Iron Man plays their songs.
Yes. They crib one of their songs. That's right. Yeah.
Right. So that's okay. Got it. That's all I know.
It's called Back in Black for a guy that wears gold and red.
Makes sense. That's about right. So,
just out of curiosity, I'm wondering how many of the people who are listening to this right now or watching it have Savage Garden's song in their head right now.
I think they got one of the three we mentioned is in their head right now.
The first question would have been like, "Why are you so excited for getting a Savage Garden CD?"
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he going back next weekend to get a Goo Goo Dolls?
Oh my God! He said he's like Goo Goo Dolls, and then he was like, and we were like, "Yeah, so you like their number one hit?" And then he named some obscure song again, and we are like, "No, it's Iris." Yeah, we were like, "It's Iris." Not even their number one hit. He named something weird. I forgot what he named.
Is Iris their number one hit?
I think it's probably the biggest selling single. Yeah.
Is it because of the City of Angels? That's why it was like.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, welcome to the Heroes World podcast, your obscure 90s pod.
Yeah.
I just want to know who I am would be the song that it pumped to me when Goo Goo Dolls. But whatever. Do you
Hey,
do you know the
band out of
can you name
Buffalo,
an
New
album,
York.
John, from the Goo Goo Dolls? Can you name an album from an
Album?
know
No,
anyone?
I can name songs.
A boy named Goo.
That is
That
correct.
really?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Rob would know. He's an ex-jockey that would probably roll with the Rolodex. He's like, Goo Goo Dolls, 1995, A Boy Named Goo. So, yeah, anyways.
Yeah,
Welcome to the
Grunge
Heroes
rock,
World podcast again.
yeah.
I think now, I guess, is a Goo Goo Dolls podcast. We're going to go into deep dive of all the Goo Goo Dolls albums, starting with A Boy Named Goo.
The world to see me.
Oh, boy. Wow. There we go. There we go. I am, I guess, a Goo Goo Dolls aficionado. Stupe with me is not any of those. A Mariah Carey stan, Mr. John Ho.
Hey, what's up? Hey, Stu, can you call me an industrialist instead?
Yes, industrialist who's trying to copyright Queen of Christmas. And our resident, I guess, obscure rock band lover, Mr. Rob Gadet.
Former member of B44.
No, don't get the B44 hive after us.
They don't exist.
Them. They do.
I put a sample of a song in one of my videos. It didn't get copyright strict. So they're like, no one's checking it.
No. Former band and artist and actor from In the Heights. The obscure Fox TV series.
To an angel.
Oh God! Here we go.
It was the main song from a TV show, right?
So old. Sorry. How do you talk to an angel?
Yeah, it was.
Can you name the artist, John? Can you name the artist?
No. In the Heights?
No, I think it was called The Heights. I think it was just called
The Heights. Yeah, you're right. The Heights. Yeah, but I don't remember what the TV show was called. Was the TV show also called The Heights?
Yes.
Oh, all right. All right.
Was the TV
this
show
is our
called
review of The Heights?
Yeah.
I thought that was just a music video. I thought he sung that on 90210.
No,
no,
it was like a spin-off.
He sung it on The Heights. Jamie, can't remember his name off the top of my head. Jamie something or other.
Right.
Rob was his manager back in the day. Song's gonna take off.
Not a very successful one. Neither of us have gone anywhere.
Yeah. Rob just got enough. Yeah. That's he's got more money from his other band Prozac than he has from The Heights. So let's continue on.
Guy.
John's is dying. Okay, so we're here to talk about not any of those things, but a little vehicle from two creators that Rob enjoys. One, the aforementioned Taylor Sheridan, who's done many a TV shows, Yellowstone, which, you know, I'm not sure how I feel about the season currently.
I haven't watched any of it. I'm waiting.
I think I'm out. I think I'm going out. There's 1883. You know, he was and he's now created a show with Rocky himself, Tulsa King. So this was I think we talked about this in our group chat. It got a lot of build-up. We were all kind of excited to see what it is. So essentially, it is Stallone as Dwight, who was a mafia capo, who was, guess what, in prison 25 years. Upon his release, he goes to Tulsa, Oklahoma, to establish a criminal empire. So he's kind of a fish out of water, kind of meeting people around, and it's that type of TV show. So, John, you are hyped. You love Stallone. I love Stallone. What are your general thoughts on this Taylor Sheridan TV show?
Yeah, so I watched his other show, that the Jeremy Renner show, Mayor of Kingstown. I think he is involved in that show as well too.
That's correct. Yes.
So I think I'm going to be a fan of this guy. So that's why I'm wondering if I should check in for Yellowstone. But I remember hearing about this, and you're like, Stallone. Okay, I haven't enjoyed the last couple of Rambos. Expendables didn't fire for me. The Spartan or whatever the hell that damn movie was we reviewed, that was a trash fest. So I didn't really have any expectations going into this. And then Rob posted like I think a Rolling Stone article or Deadline Hollywood article where Stallone talks about his career and talks about this show. So this show is engineered for his comeback. Like everything about Stallone, like the way he walks, his size, the way he talks, the little crook in his nose, like everything just feeds and lends itself to this character 100%. So whoever put this together, if he came up with it, or Ty Sheridan or some executive was like, hey, pair these two guys together, genius. I think this is going to really make his mark. And his kind of comeback. And I don't know, maybe I'll ask you guys later what your favorite.
We'll go into spoilers.
Yeah. But overall, I couldn't be happy with the show. I thought I had all my favorites of 2022 lined up, and then this show comes along, and I'm watching each episode 2 to 3 times. I think they're on 4 episodes.
2 to 3 times.
Yeah, I love this show. I love. There's a lot of little subtle stuff they do in the show that I'm really picking up on, and just Stallone. He wouldn't be my number one 80s guy. Arnold Schwarzenegger holds that position. It's going to be hard to topple him. So it's kind of weird that that Stallone's able to step in here. So yeah, I'm rooting for this show, and I'm only concerned if maybe it fizzles out maybe halfway. So
well, it just spoiler for the people at home. It has confirmed to get season 2, so it's done. So it's happening. Stallone has also mentioned he didn't realize how difficult it was to make TV shows. So that was before the announcement. So I'm like, oh, does this mean he's not coming to do? Is the show is canceled? But nope, it's coming back. So there it is. Rob, what are your brief thoughts, non-spoiler, of the show?
Well, let me just clarify. So I am a big fan of Taylor Sheridan. I remember him, guys, all the way back from Veronica Mars.
Oh, he was in charge of Veronica Mars?
No, he was one of the sheriffs. He was a sheriff or the deputy or whatever. He was an actor as well. And then
was he the main sheriff who's like follow the yellow brick road guy or whatever?
Not the older guy, the younger guy.
Oh, I think that is the guy. Yeah.
Okay, and then he did a couple episodes of that, and then he wrote one of my favorite movies, Sicario, and then Hell or right, and then Hell or High Water. Like he's done, he's done a lot of really cool shit before he got into TV. Now Paramount.
John has totally forgot that he was also in his show Sons of Anarchy. So John's like, oh yeah, he fully forgot that Taylor Sheridan was in Sons of Anarchy. Do you know who he was in Sons of Anarchy?
He is.
Dale?
Oh, okay,
yes. David Hill.
Yeah, he is the same guy from Veronica Mars who's like, go find the yellow brick road or something like that.
Yeah. So I'm a big Taylor Sheridan fan. I do really enjoy Yellowstone. I enjoyed 1883 more than I thought. I didn't want to watch this show now. I told John, stop bugging me. I'm going to wait for it to binge I'll watch the whole thing. And here we are, folks. And so I've watched the first couple episodes. I'm enjoying it, but I don't have the same level of passion and love for it that John does.
How?
And we'll get into it. And then I actually have to think that for me, so I know that there's 4 episodes out right now. Is it 8 or 10 episodes this series? I don't know if they've said, but I don't know if I will continue the next 2 episodes to then watch it on a weekly basis. It doesn't have the hook for me to have to go in week to week. On a binge, I think the show does quite well. It will be entertaining, but as a week to week hook, it doesn't have it for me yet. So that being said, I'm enjoying it. But I'm also enjoying Stallone's wig. So, his hairpiece
looks good.
Distracting. So, I don't know if that answered your question or not, Stu.
I don't know the confirmation of episodes, but I would imagine it's like they're at five, right? Like right now, I can't imagine. I don't know how many episodes they're going to be. So.
Yeah, 5 comes out today. Well, today, when we're recording, I think the 5th one came out, right?
That is correct. So it is hard to say how many episodes are out because I don't think, to be fair, consistency of his other shows. Like, I think Mayor of Kingstown had 10.
Yeah. And 10 then episodes according to Men's Health.
Okay, and Yellowstone, I guess similar in terms of episode count, it's about 10. So I'd imagine that it would be at that point where it will be about 10. Although I've seen all 4 episodes and I've seen the BIP, like the teaser for 5. So I'm interested to see the directory because it looks like it's moving quite fast. So yeah, I have some mixed feelings about this show. I think Taylor Sheridan's shows are very unique. He has a perspective on things. I know that Terrence Winter, also someone that I deeply adore, who's done Sopranos, Boardwalk Empire, Vinyl, all these different things. Of course, his tenure on Xena Warrior Princess are things that I enjoy. It is a thing where Stallone, he's really good, but everyone around him's kind of questionable. Like, I don't know how I feel. And it really threw me off when I saw Garrett Hedley. Like, it threw me off. I just stopped. I'm like, wait, is that Garrett Hedley? Like, I just sat there going, yeah, Garrett Hedlund. And I'm like, that's weird. Just
aren't
like
you right now in the AI? Shouldn't you be battling Tron? What's happening?
Yeah, 100%. I was like, what is going on? Or isn't he supposed to be in that Ben Affleck TV terrible movie with Pedro Pascal and the rest of them?
Right.
As we also, maybe you guys could do another review on that one on the Sidekick show as well.
Yes.
Go back to Triple Frontier. back to Triple Frontier.
Triple Frontier.
Triple Frontier. Yeah, it's yeah, I think it works, but it also is something that I don't know that I'd go back to. So I think on the first time it's very enjoyable, but I don't know if I'll go back to a second time around. But here we go. John, out of 10, what do you give this show?
Come on, let's go.
Look at this guy. This guy's
watched the first episode 5 times. What do you?
This guy's already busting my chops. I don't know. I feel like again this show has exceeded my expectation.
So John's like, I know normally I give 11, but 25.
I would like to give it an 11, but without with these TV shows, they can really muck it up if the final 2 episodes.
And we're just talking about the pilot. We're not even talking about we're just talking about episode 1.
Yeah. So as far as pilot, I think the pilot is pretty strong. It's pretty strong with the hook, setting up the premise. There's a lot of subtle things going on in the pilot when upon the rewatch that I picked up, and I was like, I think it's a solid pilot. So I have to give the pilot 10 out of 10.
Okay. Rob?
Look at Rob. Give me like 8.5.
No. I'll give it a just a pilot episode. I laughed more in episode 2. If it's just a pilot, I'm going to give it. I'll give it a 7.5.
What?
I said I'll give it a 7.5. Get your ears checked.
What? Stu, come on, Stu. This is Stallone on TV.
I get it. I'm going to give episode 1. I'm going to go as I always do, right back in the middle. I'm going to go 8. I think I enjoyed I enjoyed the little Martin Starr I got. I enjoyed the little bit of Andrea Savage that I got. I enjoyed Dominic from Entourage. Dom with hair.
Dom with the hair.
Dom with hair. I'm like, wait, you're Dom again?
Yeah,
with hair?
Another hair piece. Like, just you can't. You're like, what is happening, man?
Yeah, I enjoyed.
Wire. I'm like,
yeah,
I have no hair.
I was like, just go. Why? So, anyways, I love seeing Dom again. So yeah, I'll give it that. I think the rest of the episodes even flow up and down. I think, like to Rob's point, if you continue on the journey. I enjoyed 2, 3 was like and then 4 I was like, whoa, 4 was was it Michael Beach was in an episode? I'm like, I know you, and it was good. So it teeters up and down. We're gonna go into, so I think from that description, Rob, it's safe to assume it said binge it all together. John is saying watch it week by week. You have to. And I am going to follow Rob's lead and say, just watch it all at once. Don't do this week to week. It's not. You can watch it week to week. For me, I didn't realize the episode was out, and I probably would be like, okay, I'll get to it. It isn't populate my mind at all. But
yeah, it's not. I don't think it's appointment viewing.
That is correct. So if you can have the access to Paramount Plus and watch it on a regular, great. But I think you'll remember if you binge all at once, and I think it's very bingeable. It works very well, and it's still fresh. I think the freshness is what I enjoy, unlike, spoiler for Yellowstone, where things are starting to get stale. So I'm enjoying the new cast of people, the situations that haven't been repeated. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say about this. We'll see if this gets really slow, the gimmick. I can't imagine this going for very long, but now
that's my concern. Once like everything gets
but I thought that Yellowstone wasn't going to carry on that far either, and now Kevin Costner's committed. So I was like, oh, Kevin Costner's a movie star. He doesn't do this, and then there he's doing it, and then Sam Elliott. I'm like, Sam Elliott's doing this, and I was like, oh, okay. And then now Harrison Ford is doing it. I'm like, oh, I guess Harrison Ford does TV now. So I think like at this point, when you get the good material, then it doesn't matter anymore because they're really breaking the barriers down. And Stallone's
The
in it.
wall
So if you
between
told Taylor,
television and movies is no longer a divide.
yeah. So there
And
we
I
go.
think you can actually thank McConaughey and Woody Harrelson for what they did with True Detective season 1. That really,
but they were like, but those are a one and done. This is a more committed. But I think that
I think you can pinpoint that moment where movie stars were starting to say, "Oh shit, there's actually stuff that we can."
I think to be fair, the counterpoint is outside of Tom Cruise, is there a movie star left?
Hey, listen, Quentin Tarantino, let's not get into.
I'm just saying. I'm like, who is the movie star outside Tom Cruise? I'll drive you to the theater. I like if Stallone's tried. You don't go to the theater to watch Stallone anymore. We don't go to the theater to really watch, like even Harrison Ford. Like he kind of teetered back and forth to do like we only go to Harrison Ford movies if it's Indiana Jones. We don't go to watch Harrison Ford for anything else anymore. So I think they are at the point now where in order for them to get the payday, they're doing television. Right. But outside of, we talked about this in various podcasts. Outside of Tom Cruise,
DiCaprio, Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt is not. I'd say Leo potentially is it. Yeah, like Leo.
Pitt did quite well with Bullet Train.
Sorry.
Yeah. Pitt did really well with Bullet Train. I think.
Yeah, but it was fine. But it was like a small production. It's not like bankable. Like, oh, give Brad Pitt a $2 million movie, he's gonna make $1 billion. That's a Tom Cruise. Like, give Tom Cruise 150 million, 200 million Mission Impossible money, and that's bank. That's you're getting your investment bank in more. Whether it's Mission Impossible, whether it's Top Gun, whether it's whatever Tom Cruise movie you want to do, that's a guaranteed, $700 million in the pocket. And with the success of Top Gun Maverick, he just solidifies himself as the only one. Because you would have said before Will Smith, and Will Smith is, I'm a work in progress. That's who he is now. Other than that,
yeah. Days of Thunder 2 or
Electric Boogaloo,
yeah, too. Still shut.
So yeah, I honestly, Magnolia, like he's done all the stuff. He's done everything. So yeah, I think that these guys are kind of at the tail end, and that's why they're doing it. And we'll go to spoilers. Let's go to spoilers. John, pull it up. We'll talk about spoilers because I think the show does a really good job, and I'll get your 2 thoughts on it, of being referential in terms of Stallone's age. Because even Andrea Savage talks about, man, this guy's 70. Like, talks about, like, old. Like, goes into detail and comes just as this dude is old.
Yeah, 75. Yeah, and she wants to vomit.
So, it's a thing.
He's playing his real age, right? He is 75 or 76. So,
yeah. So yeah, John, tell us your spoiler. Tell us your bits of things.
Where's your list, John?
I have several lists, but since you guys are not as hot on this series,
you gotta do the list to convert us, John.
Yeah, I'll give you one list. I had like lists about Bodhi and all that stuff. But let's say like my top 3 things that Sylvester Stallone did that was just badass in this first episode, at least. Because I only took notes for the first episode. I just sat and enjoyed the second episode. But Sylvester Stallone, when he first comes out of prison or jail, and then meets it with all the heads of the mafia and whatever, and then he's just having that little meeting. He's like, "Oh, who do I look at? Am I looking at him or you? Like the old guy or the young guy who's his son?" And then at one point, this guy like gets in his face, and Sylvester Stallone just decks him, and he just hits the ground like out cold. So one punching that capo, who's like top lieutenant, was a great moment. The second moment was when he's like, "You see the heel of my shoe," and he goes over the whole speech like, "Oh, you met a corporal in your foot or whatever." He's like, "I'm gonna stomp it," and let's do ourselves a favor. I don't want to hurt you, all that kind of stuff. I thought that was great. And then the number one funniest badass ass thing he did was when he goes to the car dealership after he sends his associate to go buy him the black Lincoln Navigator. And the guy's like, "Oh, I'm gonna call the police," and he's like, "Let me get the phone for you." And then he starts taking the phone and beating him in the head with the phone. And then what tops it is after they go for ice cream, which is one of the funniest things ever. So I really like how Stallone is playing this. So I don't know if I need to see him in another movie after this. Like if he carries this on for 2-3 seasons, I think that's good. I don't know. I was
You're gonna
really
see him in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, John. So you gotta slow down. He's in the trail, like the poster, and Sly Stallone. So get ready for some Stallone in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if I change my tune. But I'm really happy with him in this role. If he decides to retire after this role, I think it's
John.
good.
He's part of the DC universe. He's King Shark.
Oh yeah, King Shark. Yeah, King Shark.
And now that James Gunn's running the DC universe or DC Studios, you can see Stallone. Yes, a lot of Stallone.
Introducing your new Superman. Sylvester.
Yeah, Stallone doing the voice for an animated Superman. I'd be down for that.
Live action.
Stallone.
No.
They have the technology. It can be.
Rob, he beat the Jor-El. Come on, let's he beat Jor-El. Be like, oh,
baby.
Let me give you some advice, Superman. Yeah.
Anyway, I was trying to pinpoint why I like this so much more.
Because you like Stallone. That's it. That's like there's no other reason.
I like. Okay, so it's got a lot of ingredients. I like Stallone, and I think I am really attracted to this outlaw lifestyle. So like shows like Justified, Sons of Anarchy.
Do you like mobsters?
I don't know. I was going to ask you guys what qualifies as a mobster movie. Like, I don't think I have.
Well, I think when they're in the Italian mob, that pretty much qualifies as mobster.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if I have that. Like, maybe we'll save that for later. But I don't think I have.
The mafioso is the mafioso. Anytime you're part of the mob,
like I don't have Sopranos. I don't have Sopranos in my back catalog. I don't have The Godfathers and stuff like that. So I have other stuff.
Dude, so somehow you love it, but yet you've missed the two most essential.
That's what I'm saying.
And then on top of it, wait, have you seen Goodfellas?
No, Goodfellas.
So then you've seen. So there's three of the holy trinity of mafioso stuff is the Godfather trilogy, The Sopranos, and Goodfellas. That is the holy trinity of mafia. Am I wrong, Rob?
No, you're right, and you could even throw in Casino as like as a side entry, or
Have you seen Casino, John?
I think I.
No, he hasn't.
I don't think I have. I don't think I have. Yeah, so it's weird.
John, have
it's
you
weird,
seen
right?
Any Martin Scorsese movie? Just out of curiosity.
Weird. Anyways, I like.
How do you wait? What are the mafia things you've seen, John? Walk us through your mafia.
No, that's what I'm saying. I've seen other stuff like Justified and those other shows where it glorifies the kind of like the gang or the Departed,
the outlaw style, not mafioso, outlaw. Do you like the outlaw?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said. I said the outlaw, like the.
So do you like westerns?
I guess I'm growing to like westerns. But anyways, I just really appreciate the show. I like all the little stuff, like the whole pinky ring thing that the guy gave him the pinky ring. That actually circles back. There's a lot of little things that kind of come back to the show, which I think is really clever. Whoever the show, like the Tyler Sheridan or whatever, is putting these little things that when you rewatch it or if you watch it as a whole, a lot of it's going to connect. So I think it's on the surface, it looks like a Sylvester Stallone comedy vehicle. But I think there's a lot going on for it. But I just love the show. So
wait, have you seen Oscar? Stallone's.
I have seen Oscar. Yes, I have seen Oscar. Yeah, Jackie Chan did a similar movie as well too.
But then, do you like the triads? Then, John, that's how you like Rush Hour, right? Like you like triads.
Yeah, it's like Rush Hour, The Young and Dangerous. We can go to like Infernal Affairs, all that kind of stuff. Like It's just this outlaw.
You just like organized crime. That's what you're saying.
See, it's something about this outlaw life.
Obviously, you have an issue with Italians.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think you don't like Italians, John. I think
I just missed out on the era. I think there was an era where those were
popular. There's not The Godfather is timeless. There's no era. You can watch it whenever you want.
It's all of an older era, right? Other than
so, when you watched John, have you watched You Got Mail?
I have seen You Got Mail.
So when they did the whole thing about The Godfather is everything in life, and the whole thing where they're like talking.
No, we've talked about this. The Godfather has been parodied so much, it feels like I've seen it. Like Simpsons, Animaniacs, for Goodfellas, and all that stuff. All that stuff has been parodied so much that I feel like I have seen it, but I haven't. So maybe that's next.
Animaniacs,
Godfather next week, folks. Next week.
The pigeons are essentially Goodfellas. Like the good feathers are very much the exact same
funny
thing.
To you?
Yes.
I'll make you laugh. What's some kind of joke? Anyway, go ahead, Rob. I can't believe you didn't love this show.
It's because we've seen The Godfather, the whole way, like Sopranos, and we've seen freaking Goodfellas. It's like this is like Mafia Light. Yeah, this is yeah.
I got nothing.
You didn't like Bodie, Rob? I thought Bodie would be your boy.
Yeah, no, I do really like Martin Starr.
Are you a customer now?
We don't really get a lot of him in episode 1, so
yeah. Okay. Rob, what are your thoughts after? I don't know if you can top that.
As I said, I'm pulling an old school John Ho saying I got nothing.
What do you have? What are your spoilery thoughts? Because
so when you see him in prison at the beginning, I thought it was like escape plan. That escape plan 4.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was gonna walk in next.
Yeah.
I wish.
It's interesting, Stu, because you said that you felt like Stallone was a certain level, and then the others around him weren't matching that level. And I think that's kind of right. But I don't necessarily know, though, if Stallone is better than them, than the supporting cast around him, or if his persona is just so big. You know, the one thing that Tom Cruise, we can go back to Tom, or even Leonardo DiCaprio that do is they seem to, in their dramatic roles, they get lost in that character. Like when I watch The Aviator, I forget that it's DiCaprio. I think, holy shit, this guy's Howard Hughes. And I feel that Stallone's at that moment now where if he's not parodying himself, then it's just Stallone doing the stuff. And so when he's reciting these lines or doing whatever, I'm just looking at Stallone as a mob guy as opposed to a mob guy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I feel like even the guy that he hired to be his driver, I feel like he's more natural in his cadence and his delivery than Stallone is, because Stallone's talking like this, and we'll take it.
He toned it back a little bit, Vin Diesel.
But I feel like it's for me, it takes me away a little bit from it. The one moment where I felt that he actually went into his character was in the hotel room the morning after he slept with the woman, and he's like lying on the floor, kind of leaning on the bed, and he's talking normally, as opposed to like this big bravio show, chest out, walking and strutting. And I thought that moment he seemed normal. Like I was like, okay, this is not a show. Yeah. Like he's not putting on a show, right?
Yeah.
I just wish that he had kind of carried that throughout, and maybe he does in later episodes. I don't know.
It's hard because the show is, like you said, John. John loves it because of Stallone. But I think, Rob, to your point, Stallone is playing a character who's intrinsically trying to be a bad influence, trying to basically make a pure place into an unpure place. He's bringing the organized crime there. As much as like, oh, Martin, sorry, like, oh, now you're paying me for protection money. Like, essentially, he's coming in there to corrupt the people around him.
Right.
And it's a question of, do we like Stallone enough to basically look the other direction? As the Chris Rock joke said before about Michael Jackson. It's like, we love Michael so much, we let the first one slide.
He's more
so do we, is this the situation? It's like, it's hard because you're like, oh, you know what organized crime does. In the show, they talk about, he's murdered people. So he's not like the example of like, oh, I went in and, like, oh, but he's murdered a person. It was for self-defense, but he still murdered a person. So it's question like they're trying to draw this ambiguity of like, well, he's an honorable person, but he's also part of the mafia. So how do you kind of diverge this type of thinking, right? And
yeah, I mean, I was thinking about like Stallone has had really good moments of acting in his career, right? Like he has, and I think like in Copland, he did something completely different. And I really enjoyed his performance in that, even though the movie's a little bit what it is. I just wish that I feel like he's just so into the Stallone brand that for me, it just kind of takes it away. But that being said, if I can excuse that or at least ignore part of that, the rest of the story is intriguing. It's interesting. It's a fish out of water tale who's going out there, as you said, trying to make a pure place unpure. I was getting very confused at the whole dispensary issue. Like he goes in that was hilarious to me. He walks in, the guy, they're paying him no attention, no mind. He walks out, grabs the metal water bottle and throws it, knocks the guard out. I thought that was pretty funny. But the whole dispensary thing, I got very confused because it's legal, and he's going on about how the government's going to come in and take all this money, but it's a legal operation that I guess maybe they do a bit under the books as well to boost their profit margin. I'm not really it wasn't overly clear because I liked the idea that he gets out of prison and everything's different. 25 years in the cell, and like he doesn't know what cell phones are, like iPhones. He doesn't understand what all this type of shit is, right? And so I thought that was really cool. So I thought, oh, he's not understanding how dispensaries work. But then the guy's like, okay, well, I guess you're just taking my money now, and I'm doing stuff under the table as well as being a legal operation. Like the whole thing seemed a little bit convoluted. I like Martin Starr as Bodhi. We see more. I like him a lot more in episode 2. I don't know what he's like in the other subsequent episodes, but episode 1, I thought we didn't get enough of him.
He's great.
I really laughed at episode 2 though. I thought episode 2 was really funny, and again, you got to see a bit of Stallone's comedic, chops in episode 2.
Yeah.
So as a pilot episode, it's okay. It sets up some stuff. It gives you the base foundation for what you think is going to come, which is fine. It's just that it's easily distractible at certain times. One being Stallone, and then the second being that guy's the horrible toupee that they make him wear. The gangster guy, Dominic thing. So, I mean, we'll see where it goes, right? But for me, it was interesting because at the end of episode 2, I saw the trailer for episode 3, and I was like, okay, cool, I can watch this. But it was too late for me. I was going to go to bed. And I'm like, I was going to watch it right now, guys. I'm in the middle of The Old Man, and that is holding me more than what this one is. So I'll definitely watch this. I'll finish it, but I'm going to wait for it all to be completed on Paramount Plus.
Yeah. Okay. I think we'll take a break and come back to the end of the season and see how we go. So I think it is carried by Stallone. Again, I like Andrea Savage. I like Martin Starr. I like the characters. I think the development of one of the other characters strengthens as the series goes by. Armand gets better. I don't know if you've met it's one of those things where they slowly sprinkle in people. So I'd say it's worth your time, but again, don't wait till it's all done, and during the Christmas time, go through it. I think by then, well, I guess I won't be done by then, but you can get through a bunch nonetheless. John, before we jump into our final thing, what is your number one favorite Stallone movie?
Oh,
or Stallone everything? Like, what's your favorite Stallone? It could be a movie or it could be a TV show. What is your favorite Stallone?
It has to. I want to say something like Demolition Man or whatever, but it has to go to the Rocky character. Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, phenomenal. And if I had to choose one out of those, I think I do choose Rocky 4, although I haven't seen it in a while, but I suspect it's still the same movie. Yeah, Rocky, I think it's got to be Rocky 4. Even though I think his performance is better in the earlier Rockies, I think.
Rob?
Well, it's interesting because we've grown up, guys. We grew up on all of these movies, and you're like, oh, hey, I'm a big, or at least I was.
It's Cobra, isn't it? You're gonna say Cobra.
Tango and Cash. I always thought that was a great movie. But if I had to pick, somebody says to me, show me Stallone's best performance or best movie, I'm going to go with the original First Blood. His performance as a Vietnam vet in that movie is absolutely riveting. And I just watched it like a number of months ago, maybe last year or whatever. And it still holds up. The anger, the hurt, and everything else. It's just too bad that all of a sudden that character all of a sudden becomes a super action hero with a Saturday morning cartoon and lunch boxes and everything else. But the original First Blood, fantastic performance by Stallone.
Stu, you gonna go Judge Dredd?
No, because because that's the best GIF moment. I think my guilty pleasure, my favorite guilty pleasure Stallone movie is Over the Top. Still, I think Link Hawk is such a strong character. Like that that like turn the hat around, and then the hand doing that and just going down. Like I think it's just a weird subculture that I still enjoy. Like his whole thing was just to get a truck so him and his son could be together.
Yeah, it was like a shiny truck, right? It was a
I'm
shiny
like, wait,
truck.
that's what you win? And then, but at the same time, it's like, doesn't your son also have to go to school? Like, I understand how this works. But I think, yeah, no. Yeah, Cliffhanger's good too. But I would say my favorite performance is Stallone in Creed. I think that's by far his best nuanced performance. It's a supporting role, but I think he does so much self-reflection in that film, and it does what this thing does too, where he's like, "Oh, what's the cloud?" Like what, like the same bits in this is basically steel for Tulsa King, and I'm like, it's not as fun as when you first watch. I remember, John, when we were in the theater watching it. You know how hyped we were once that film was done.
We all went, yeah.
We were like,
picture of us, I think, like all in the lobby.
All of us in the lobby, we were all like, so like we saw the movie, we came out, we're like, this is it. Like we're all jazzed, we loved it. We're like, this is the best. This is the best of the Rocky films because he had an important role, but everything he did had gravitas, meaning, and it was like a quick, like it mattered. And I think it didn't chew up the scenery. He did what he did, and he was again rewarded with a nomination for an Academy Award. Like he was fantastic. So yeah, you could always go for the cliffhangers, stop him, almost shoot.
The one right before Creed, dude, the Rocky Balboa, the one where he kind of comes back and fights the young guy. That was actually pretty good too. Like he is a really good
no, it's not.
No?
I think you haven't watched it in a while, John.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
You need to like that was where Stallone can get. I think Rob said it eloquently before. Gets wrapped up in Stallone. Like as when he writes, he produces, he directs, he acts. There's like that. Creed was the exception where they're like, okay, we are going to take this character. We know how much we love Ryan Coogler. He had a team of people like come in. Ryan Coogler came in. It's like he's directing, so Sly didn't have to do it. The writing, he didn't write it. So like again, screenplay was by Ryan Coogler. So again, it's one of those things where they understood the character and they added some nuance to it that I don't think Stallone would have done. The like, what's the cloud and like all the little nuances, even the thing back and forth with the fighting. It's like it's you and the thing and like all that stuff is just the essence of Rocky, but just when you feed him the lines and maybe he lived it as well. Like it's the best of what Rocky could be. Like Rocky, Creed is the one. Yeah. And Michael B. Jordan.
What's the biggest disappointment then, Stu? And why is it Assassins?
No, I don't think Assassins is the worst one. I think it was just billed really badly, but like I think that's because I was in this like the Specialist, Assassins, like Daylight, like this weird time of like all these films.
I love Daylight.
It was like weird times where that was happening. Like
that's a tough movie though, right? Because his son was in that movie with him, but then his son has subsequently passed, right? So
whoa. I did not know that.
Yeah, so like as Robin said, like there are some moments in Tango and Cash, like there's some, he's done some stuff like Rhinestone and Staying Alive, and like there are some things he's done. So yeah, okay. So but quickly before we jump off, I just want to get our thoughts because news dropped today about the two heads of DC Studios. And now there's counter-conflicting reports. Rob sent an article today about, PR spins of Patty Jenkins. So needless to say, for the people that don't know at home, Safran and Gunn have taken over the duties as the heads of DC Studios. It's essentially what Kevin Feige is doing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel Studios. Gunn was really heavily involved in the creation of the space aspect after Guardians of the Galaxy. He was in the inner circle of the MCU, really used upon as an executive producer, noted on things and really brought into the inner circle. A tweet came out and he was subsequently canceled and fired, and then they had to refigure things out. He got brought back in, but then he also basically signed on to do a DC film, thus creating a relationship with DC Studios and doing Suicide Squad and then Peacemaker. That essentially with the knowledge and experience he gained at MCU, he like, yeah, I'll be the guy with Safran. So the two of them now are the heads. He's after Guardians of the Galaxy, leaving Marvel behind and running DC Studios. And since then, a few things have happened, such as a strange beef with The Rock, where neither of them acknowledge each other at all. And no thank you from The Rock, or thinking like, congratulations on your new position. And then recently, news has dropped that the cancellation of, or not moving forward, of Wonder Woman 3 and possibly Man of Steel. So, John, give us your... And then there's another subsequent rumors that maybe they're going to recast Jason Momoa after these next films. So there are
like Jason Momoa wants to be Loki. I mean, not Loki, Lobo.
Well, like, yeah, it's a weird thing because, again, I think there's some nuance because Jason Momoa was the secondary runner-up to Drax the Destroyer. Like, he auditioned and Batista got it. And he didn't get Drax the Destroyer. And he was very hot. Like, again, he was like, I worked for a reason. He got Aquaman. It worked out, I guess, for him. Like, I don't know if he thought that it would be something bigger, but he's kind of done his own stuff. But, yeah, it is a different thing. So tell us. Yeah, and then the article that recently dropped out was that the treatment was sent into DC, and then they said, no, thank you. And then Patty Jenkins is like, yeah, I'm out. So what are your general thoughts to the fact that things are changing?
I was saying I thought this. Okay, go ahead.
John, sorry, go ahead, John.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was saying I thought this was already known because of the disaster that was Wonder Woman 84. So I think if she turned into treatment and it was similar to Wonder Woman 84, yeah, of course your movie is going to get passed on. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I don't desire to see her or hear or read her treatment. And I think it's best they move on from there. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine with us not seeing that. And I think you had mentioned that maybe Gal Gadot is out, or someone mentioned maybe Gal Gadot is out. And Wonder Woman 84 was so bad that I am okay with that.
What about Henry Cavill not coming back as Superman?
Henry Cavill coming back is another foolish move by DC. Henry Cavill unanimously, I feel like unanimously, is a good Superman. Everyone likes the casting. He's never been given the proper stuff to work with, so I feel like he really has to move on. He has to basically put his foot down and say, hey, I'm out then. You guys don't want me?
This seems to be... I love Henry Cavill as much as the next guy, but walked away from The Witcher because of the bad writing. Not doing Superman movies because, like, eventually, like, something's got to give here. Like, what is happening that he is being passed over and not doing these big projects? Because constantly, like he's gonna do. I don't know if I heard anything from Highlander because that's what he's doing next. But there hasn't been any real news on that.
If he's moving on to Highlander, sure, give him something else he can chew on. But they seem to not want him to do the Superman thing. DC is. I feel like they're notorious for this, not using their two main characters, Batman and Superman, to the degree that Marvel is using their top characters, like Spider-Man and things like that. So yeah, sure, DC's going to keep pushing off this Superman movie. Too bad. Cavill's going to move on, and you guys are going to have to roll the dice on your next casting, and it better not be what's Helmsworth's brother's name. The Witcher guy is going to stay. It better not be Liam Hemsworth as Superman coming next, because it's not going to work.
Joke's on you. It's the third Helmsworth brother who plays Thor. The actor Luke Helmsworth as the new
Luke
Superman.
Helmsworth.
Luke Helmsworth. Yeah, there you go, John.
Since Westworld's no more, he's open. He's
available.
He's free.
Spoiler alert, he didn't make it out of that TV show, so it's fine. Rob, what are your general thoughts?
Oh, so far, okay. It's very easy to get, like, it's very easy, and you've seen a lot of the commentary online, people like losing their shit, going all crazy over this Hollywood Reporter story. That Gunn and Safran are just swinging the axe and cutting and changing it all up. Gunn responded today in a series of tweets, and he's like, yeah, some of the stuff in that article is true. Some of the stuff might be true. Some of the stuff is not true. And some of the stuff we don't know yet if it will be true or not. Like, he's like, we knew we came into this, and I'm paraphrasing, we came into the DC universe knowing that it was fractured, everything was everywhere, and we are trying to build a story out over the next 10 years. And I know everybody wants, but we're asking for your patience because it's going to be a while until you find out what we're doing. And they're not delivering their shit until Warner's until sometime next week. They're going to lay out. Warner's might say, yeah, we like some of it. We don't like all of it. Who knows? Hard to say. We've got the elephant in the room is there's 4 elephants and they're all coming out next year, right? You've got Shazam, you've got Aquaman, you have the Flash and Blue Beetle. So we don't know, like 3 of those are tied to Snyderverse stuff. So we don't really know what's going on with that. Of interest, Stu, you said like The Rock never congratulated Gunn on his ascension into that role, but neither did Zachary Levi. He's been pretty quiet and he hasn't said anything about stuff with DC whatsoever.
He can't because The Rock is producing his film.
Yeah, and his shit drops in March. So
he's a producer on his film, so he can't be like, oh, I don't want to piss off The Rock. He's the one that got me in the movie. He cast me in it, so you got to pick his guy.
So you're seeing a lot of online of people saying this is, it's crazy times, but then you're seeing a lot of directors who are like James Mangold, Logan director, the guy who's just finishing up on Indiana Jones. He's like, I want to work with Gunn on DC stuff. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this stuff goes. I think the problem is with DC, and it's time and time again, you guys all, if we had the gift that, John could put up on the screen right now, I'm Charlie Brown running, and there's Lucy.
Should get that, damn it.
Ball away, and it's me all the time, just, losing out. And that's the thing is that I feel that it's such a rudderless ship that anytime you get any news, you're like, yay, and then it gets pulled out from underneath you.
No, but I feel like with this announcement with leadership, it's different.
I'm hopeful then that we're just like, okay, you know what? We've got to get through the next 4 movies that are coming out next year, and then like lay it out to us. Maybe like next year at Comic-Con, they'll lay out the entire plan.
Very, very quiet about the Matt Reeves movie. Very quiet.
Well, no. So the Matt Reeves Batman stuff is non-touchable. According to the reports, that was that one edict, is that you can't touch that universe because he's got stuff. The Penguin starts filming the TV series in January, I think. So like that's still going full steam ahead. So that stuff is outside of whatever Gunn is working on. We can have another podcast to speculate what is it that's going to, what's this whole entire foundation that they're building towards. But for now, we just got to go with it and see what happens. I mean, there's no point in kicking and screaming.
It's just hopefully what it does is it lights the fire under Marvel to put some better products on the table. Like I think we already talked about this phase has been a little underwhelming, and we get the comedy portion of it. I think Gunn will put the sensibilities of same with Marvel. It's like you gotta add a little bit of humor, which is nice. But the problem is I don't want carbon copies of both the same stuff of both Marvel and DC. Like that's truly gonna kill the entire genre of all the movies that are exactly the same with Marvel and DC characters, where they're just like a little bit of light humor, a little bit of action, CGI fight sequences, and the movie's over. And then here's a cutscene. You're like, I've already seen this movie already. Can we do something different? So I am interested to see what it is, but I'm cautiously optimistic because, it could be more of the same thing. And that's the thing where, many directors have said, if you just do the same thing like Westerns, this is how the genre dies. So let's just hope they elevate each other and push each other to become better, because Marvel's kind of resting on their laurels a little too much.
I would not be surprised if Gunn has, like, if they've got an idea that you're going to see a lot of world building before you get to your heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think you'll see, whether it's Lobo as the example or whatever, you'll see stuff happening, and then you're going to get your 4th movie will be Superman. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that they'll have found, like, they will make that.
They got a long-term deal too, so it's not like a 1-year deal. Like they got enough time to
4 years with extensions, but they're mapping out 10 years worth of shit.
Yep.
So, and also we have to remember, this is also infusing video games and the television properties, all this one big umbrella thing, right? So, yeah. So I think that's what we're gonna get. We're gonna get a few quote unquote B-list stuff leading into the bigger ones, right? So they're laying that foundation. That's what I suspect, but we'll see. We won't know until, what do you guys think? Maybe Comic-Con next year when they lay it out? Maybe the Flash comes out next June, right? So Comic-Con is July. Blue Beetle is August, and then Aquaman is December this time next year. So it could be next year when they lay out their
I think after Flash, I think they have to drop.
Well, that's Comic-Con.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they have to drop this Flash movie, and maybe they're not even happy about it, but they've invested so much into it that they've got to try and cash in on it.
Apparently,
and then it might get trashed after it. It might.
I think the screenings are quite positive. I think the problem is what do you do with this product now if you're resetting?
Yeah. What if it does? What if it becomes a smash hit? They've probably already moved on from that direction, right? It's
thankfully it's Flashpoint, so they can really run off, no pun intended, whatever they want.
All right, well, that's a good thought process and wrap up. We're cautiously optimistic, and we'll see what happens. Fingers are crossed that I get a Booster Gold movie. We'll see what happens. John, tell us what's going on.
The polls, right? Booster Gold at the top of the polls.
Exactly. Tell us what's going on. What's going on in the store, and where can they find you?
Yeah. So
on the internet,
you guys are running out of time for Christmas. We have got tons and tons of stuff in stock right now. Visit us at the shop, 8601 Warden Avenue. Tons and tons of stuff on the shelf. We will not be as crazy as the malls and stuff, so you can come in and shop comfortably. And we've got a lot of unique items for you to check out. So please check us out there. If you're not following us already on the social medias, Facebook and Instagram, most active. All the new stuff gets posted up there. And don't hesitate to message us through those. Listening to this on the audio, iTunes, Spotify, please check us out. Give us a rating and leave us a comment, whatever review really helps us out. And we have in the shop an event coming up. We have Mike Del Mundo dropping by to autograph and sign copies of his brand new Miles Morales #1 cover, which he collaborated with a graffiti artist. I forgot what the graffiti artist's name, and he drew like an actual gigantic graffiti mural, and it's transposed on this cover. So definitely check it out. That's happening not this Saturday, next Saturday, which is December 17th at the shop, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. You can find more details on that on our Facebook or drop by the shop, and we'll be happy to give you all the details on it.
Awesome. John, awesome. Thank you. Rob, what's going on the Sidekick Show?
Oh, Stuart. We are, as John was just kind of saying, we are only just over 2 weeks away until the big magical day when the big fat guy comes down the chimney and delivers you presents. And to get ready into the mood and into the spirit, we are watching on the Heroes World Sidekick Show some of our favorite Christmas movies. And so you can join us every Monday night live, 8:15 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We started off with John's favorite of all time, Jingle All the Way. It was a massive pant load. We went last week with Bad Santa, which was absolutely hilarious, but it offended John's sensibilities.
I am offended. No, just
took him to his moral core. I laughed the entire time. But this Monday,
R.I.P. Bernie Mac. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Ritter. And then this Monday, we are going with classic Griswold Family Vacation. We're going National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. So definitely, you must have a copy of this somewhere. We would suggest you throw it on, watch it, and then join John and I as we discuss it Monday Night Live, 8:15 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us on this random tangent. Have a wonderful day. Be safe out there. Goodbye, everyone.
See ya.